Like most things in life, the second one is usually greater than the first. Remember that fucking reference? We're calling back to it now! It was in my Teku video where I said those lines, and I was mainly referring to Sly Cooper 2 and a bunch of Twix bars or whatever the fuck I was talking about back then. And yeah, I know this sounds like a little bit different compared to my last video, and that's intentional because I'm still trying to find my voice, thus it means that I'm trying different things and seeing what works and what doesn't. The last time that I did the last video, I did not like my delivery. So I'm trying to cut a little loose with my delivery and see where we go from here. But anyways, Sly Cooper 2 is definitely one of the best sequels out of all the first party sequels in the PlayStation 2 era, even beating the likes of Jak 2 and Ratchet 2, cause while Ratchet 2 just built on the foundations of the first game, both Jak and Sly took a different approach to their sequels. Unlike Ratchet, they were not releasing yearly, usually skipping a year, in order to give the games the proper time that they needed in order to have all of the ideas and innovations come together almost seamlessly. And what we are left with, in Sly's case, is something that goes beyond just your average 3D platformer and becomes something greater. Not just a 3D platformer, but a story that should genuinely be experienced for everybody, no matter your age, no matter the console you grew up with. A game that should genuinely be held as one of the greats, and usually it is, as a lot of the fan base does agree with the consensus that Sly 2 is the best one of the entire trilogy, or the entire 4 if we're counting Sly 4. And maybe, just maybe, you might be thinking to yourself, well Teku, you don't really hold these opinions, this is just nostalgia talking. You can't possibly be holding this opinion on something that you just played, and well, you're wrong, because as I said in my Sly Cooper 1 video, I did not get to play any of these games when I was a child. I wanted to, but I didn't. But I can now, and I am. And even though I did so a couple of years ago thanks to PlayStation Now, I think the recent playthrough did something for me that the PS Now playthrough didn't do. Cause unlike the PS Now playthrough, I was playing basically on a timer since it's a subscription service. So I had to kinda rush through everything while not looking back at, everything that the game had to offer because I was at a time limit. That's a whole different can of worms as subscription services that I really want to talk about one day. But Sly Cooper 2, that's the discussion now. I don't know. I really feel that this game deserves more respect than it often gets, especially when in comparison to its peers? Since Jak 2 probably sold more than Sly 2, even though Sly 2 is honestly better. It's a real piece of art, masterfully crafted from its wonderful story back from the first game's tale, paying off in all the character developments that we saw there, feeling the character dynamics that we currently see in the sequel, especially since now we get to partake in the story with not just Sly in the wheel, but also his friends. Cause while in the first game they were touted to be a gang of thieves, the only one who was really doing all the work was Sly, and Bentley, I guess, yeah, he was doing all the research and, forming all the plans and everything, but Sly was doing all the grunt work, doing all the thieving, doing all the fighting, doing literally everything, with Murray accidentally contributing to something here and there, but nothing too major. And now, all three of them are together in the field as a team, and we truly get to see their connection as a team and the banter that they share with one another. And honestly, making you feel very happy as, banter is something that is shared among friends and something that is usually just left there. You don't really banter with people that you really don't know, thus making this team's dynamic, however strenuous it gets throughout the journey, something that is really welcomed and something that is honestly kind of missing in some of the games nowadays, which kind of goes back to the argument again of games back in the day being better than what they are now. At least that's how I feel, as I feel a total connection with the characters that are shown in a lot of the old games. I think it's starting to rain. Motherfucker. I can't record shit with no fucking rain. God damn it. Anyways, I really believe Murray is the real highlight of the game. Other than Sly himself, as before, well, he was a coward, you know, who had Sly envy, mostly just completed his goals with the help of Sly or just accidentally. But now he's developed into a real fucking powerhouse, as before he once cowered at the sight of enemies, now he's crushes everybody who stands in his way. Nobody can try to stop the Murray.
Another barrier stands before you. Fear not, I shall bend it like the truth.
Not to say that Bentley is the weakest link, as he has his own outstanding moments in the story, and they're all great, but I really do think that Murray shines best in the sequel. To which brings us now to the level design, which are more like Disney theme park attractions with strong theming and coloring, and overall just amazing design with recognizable landmarks, which are helped with the addition of clue bottles, as they give you incentives to explore the world at first, as Sly, to get accustomed to the world's layout and design, subconsciously creating a mental map of where you should go and what best routes to take in any given situation. Plus, it helps that they give you small rewards here and there. Speaking of small rewards, every time that you beat a level, you get to see the artwork in the cutscenes, which, yeah, sometimes look kinda odd and off model given the characters are, you know, they got better designs now and are more clear to the eye compared to before. But some of the drawings just do not look good. Not to say that they're flat out bad, it's just that they look odd in comparison to, you know, the game's general style. But clearly having a better vision of where to take the cutscenes in comparison to the first game, which my criticism was that sometimes it's kinda odd because the characters also blend in with the backgrounds a little bit, given that the backgrounds had the same complexity that the characters in the first in the drawings have. Fuck. But now it is more clearly defined which are the characters and which are the fucking backgrounds, since the characters not have a way thicker line art than they did before. And the backgrounds have minimal to no line art whatsoever, and duller colors to help accentuate the main characters in the scene. And when I played it at first, I looked at everything that they were doing and translated that into my own drawings. If you were a big fan of mine back in the day when I did a comic, then you would see those techniques from Sly Cooper 2 translated into my own comics. You know, bolder line art and less detailed backgrounds in order to make the main characters stand out. I look at those drawings and I cringe because my backgrounds are not as good as they are now. Like, genuinely, it's oh my god, what was I thinking? But thus is the process of creating art, I suppose. Everything's not perfect the first go around, which brings us now to the music, which now have leitmotifs used in different arrangements to indicate different moods in the story. It is not to say that the first game had bad music, it's just it's completely different to what you would expect as a thieving stealth game. The soundtrack in this game does fit the narrative and does fit the style that they're going for when it comes to a thieving stealth game. And something that I had a gripe with before as well, the character models, which now have seen a bigger upgrade. Cause yeah, the main criticism when it came to the character models and animation was just mainly Sly that kind of looked odd. I kind of meant it for everybody. It's just that Sly made the best example out of all the characters in the game. And while they don't reach the same level of quality that Ratchet and Jack do, especially when it comes to animation, the characters in Sly 2 do look a lot more expressive than they did in Sly 1. And it's helped a lot with superb voice acting that brings it all together except for one character, but I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm pretty sure if you get to play this game you would understand which character I'm talking about. But anyways, you can genuinely tell that the team at Sucker Punch took the first game's criticisms to heart and worked hard at addressing all of it, and genuinely standing taller than the likes of Ratchet 2 and Jack 2, which brings us to Sly 3. Does it get close in comparison to the other 3 goals in the PS2 catalog? I don't know. Let's find out.